Okay, so for this week, we both read the 2018 Higher Education Horizon Report online, what different applications students have with technology. And I know that with my campus at least, almost all the homework is online or through its learning, which is the learning management system my district uses. And they get instant feedback on how they're doing, so it really helps them track their learning goals.
Mm-hmm.
It's really easy to see what they're missing, or if they do a test online, it immediately tells them what's wrong, so they can go back and correct it. But also the issue, and as is discussed in the Horizon report, I work with ESL students, and a lot of my students don't have access to internet at home, so it's a data equity issue that I kind of experience, in that my students have a hard time doing their homework at home because they don't have access to internet in the way that other students do. And so I definitely, when I was reading the challenges section, I thought the data equity really, really, really stuck out to me because, in Houston, we have access to internet, and as, teachers, we have access to internet, but that's not true for all of our students. And I think we need to make sure we're accommodating for that and trying to correct it in the future.
I think that's a great point because that definitely leads us into the next INST standard, which is teaching, learning, and assessments. Technology coaches assist teachers in using technology effectively for assessing student learning. And within my classroom, I have a large base of students that are ESL and ELL. And in order for students to be able to use technology to their advantage, the facilitator or the teacher needs to be able to implement that type of technology. And sometimes I find myself in these different technological development courses and professional development courses in order to enhance my practices, in order to help my students and meet my students' needs through technology. And with what you say about going back with it being a digital equity issue, it is an issue because some of my students don't even have cell phones or iPads that they can use in order to build upon those competencies and that digital literacy. And so, we shouldn't be making the judgment that every student has access to internet and technology, because that's not the case, because technology is not only evolving, but as it evolves, it is very expensive. And a lot of students, especially within my district, they can't afford those types of resources. So as a community and as an educational institution, we need to be able to provide students with those types of technology if we expect them and we have that goal for them to be successful within those avenues and within that area. And also going back and touching base on learning and assessments, technology is great for this because I do informal and formal assessments through our resource within our district called Schoology. Schoology allows me as the instructor and the facilitator to use different types of platforms in order to assess student knowledge. Because when assessing student knowledge, it's more than just being able to fill in the blank or parrot back information, or even just to, what do you call, bubble in a letter. When using different types of platforms, not only students are using technology in order to achieve that goal, but they're becoming more effective digital learners. And also, one thing within my district that we found very beneficial is, in order to meet the needs of our ESL and ELL learners, they have these IPT tests where it evaluates the different modes of learning through reading, writing, speaking, and listening. And in order to assess those modes, especially the speaking and listening mode, technology has really, really revolutionized that assessment within that particular field, because by teachers being the ones to evaluate speaking and listening, there are those biases. And whenever we implement that type of assessment within those particular modes within, I guess, the computer, within technology, we are getting more clear data about how students are performing.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything you're saying. And I know for me, with my ESL students, we have a very similar system where we're assessing reading, writing, speaking, using technology. In all of the core classes, which actually leads us to the next INST standard about administration, promoting an environment of professional learning and innovation that empowers educators to enhance student learning. Throughout all of our core courses, all of our students actually use Flipgrid to respond to questions orally. So they're given time to prepare. They're given a variety of methods of explaining the way they want to answer their question, and they do it in every class. So they get the experience so that come TELPAS, they're not as nervous about responding to their prompts. But it was really a method on the part of the administration to really integrate this into the classroom, because my school does have such a large population of ESL students. So from a top-down model of administrators really not forcing but pushing the technology implementations alongside the technology coaches, students really are able to take a better control of their learning.
Yes, I definitely agree. Not only are they able to take better control of their learning, but they're also feeling more comfortable. And technology has really helped teachers out a lot in this aspect, especially when dealing with the politics of TELPAS and IPT testing. But one thing that going back to the INST standards within administrators, one thing that I think administrators have to really do in order to help facilitate these types of resources and competencies within these resources is to not only advocate, but model. What does that look like in the classroom? How are our teachers and students supposed to achieve these goals using this type of technology? Because sometimes I feel like as teachers, we're given all of this technology and all of these resources, but there's no goal. And the goal is not stated specifically. How are we supposed to use this type of technology in order to benefit student learning? What is the purpose of this? And how do you want us to use this? And I think that there should be some types of professional developments led by administrators, specifically modeling and showing how can we use these innovations in order to enhance our teaching practices. And that way teachers can get a clear idea of not only where we're going as a campus, but how to help students be academically successful as well.
Yeah, I agree with everything you said. I know if we know how to use it, if the administration tells us how they want us to use it, it becomes a lot easier to implement in our classrooms. And if we know what we're doing, then it's better for our students. And I know that we both read the Higher Education Horizon report, but I think a lot of these issues, they do have a place in K-12 education as well as in industry. I know a lot of these examples, we don't have time to go through them, but the issues of digital equity and things like that are an issue in businesses too. So all these trends and challenges that they're finding in higher education, I think really have a part in more than just higher education.